over 130 residential schools operated in Canada. The first federal residential school began around 1883. The last closed in 1996. These schools, predominantly funded and operated by the Government of Canada and Roman Catholic, Anglican, Methodist, Presbyterian, and United Churches, were created to enforce the adoption of European traditions, languages, and lifestyles by First Nations, Métis, and Inuit children. To better understand the history of these schools and what it meant to Indigenous communities, we invited residential school attendees and their families to share their stories and experiences. For some, these stories are a moment of healing. For others, a chance to talk about the history and the system. All are important to preserve for future generations. My name is Ryan Funk, and with my co-host Lisa Muswagon, we followed these stories for We Stand Together.
I'm Brian Waboose, and I attended a residential school, and it's called St. Joseph Training School. It's in Alfred, Ontario, 1966. I was on reserve, of course. There's about nine boys and one girl in my family, and I had lost my dad when I was about 3 years old. And my mom had a drinking problem, very heavy drinking problem. And those days, it was pretty tough to eat, food, going to school. And my mom had a bunch of kids to take care of herself. Apparently, she was in residential school too. I didn't notice for quite a while. In order to kind of survive, of course, she was drinking. I would stay out all hours of the night, and my other older brothers were in residential school as well. Before I went, I had to take care of my little sister and younger brother, kind of feed them, when my mom was out on her tears. And I used to rob food from the little theater canteen. They had a little movie there once a week. But I used to steal food from there, bread, ice cream, chocolate bars. But eventually, the system caught up on me, and I wasn't going to school, missing all kinds of stuff like that. I had to go to court. I believe I had 11 charges, break and enter and all that stuff. I used to rob from my grandparents too, just for food, because they were kind of well off. They didn't drink, maybe sociably, very little, but they protected me pretty good. When the system took me to court, my brother went ahead of me. But anyways, I went with 3 other guys from Manitowoc, Ontario, which wasn't far from Pickmobile First Nations. And they right away, I guess they said they're gonna put me somewhere and telling my mom that. I was sentenced, I guess. They didn't tell me how long, but they said you're going to St. Joseph Training School. This probably be a nice place for you. And they were saying that and all that. But I was so angry at my mom before me being sentenced, being taken away. I used to tell her, I'd like to go to a residential school or that training school because there's no food here, you drink too much. I was really angry. But that's the words now I'm sorry for saying, because I thought this place was going to be very comfortable and treated nice. They drove me and these 3 other guys. As we were driving down the highway, I had to go to Marathon, Ontario. From there, take the airplane to Alfred, Ontario, to Ottawa. But as we were driving down our road, my mom was behind me, and I went to the left on Highway 17, and she went to the right, back to Pickmobile First Nations. That's what hit me hard. That was the last time I saw her for about 7 years. 11 months in St. Joseph Training School, 6 years in foster homes. When I got to St. Joseph Training School that afternoon, 4 of us obviously met some staff, but I met Brother Zill. Brother Zill said, "How are you doing?" They told us one at a time, and I said, "Are you guys good boys?" I said, "Yes, I'm a good boy, brother." And he hit me really hard right in the chest when I was 11 years old. I freaked out, of course. I was wondering why. He said, No, you are here because you're a bad boy. And I said, "Holy jumping, And it was like a good punch, like from a man 35 years old, and I'm only 11. So anyways, I was scared right off the bat. So they introduced us to the school. took us down to that playroom they called the playroom. There was about 90 other kids there. And my brother Spencer was there. He told me right away, he said, Brian, you got to be careful here. You can't get into trouble. You can't misbehave because they'll beat you up like a man. I said, are you serious? I couldn't believe that. But anyways, I was introduced to a bunch of other kids, all boys. Some were looking tough and some were, it was just a little too much because I was wondering, 'cause at that age, some of those kids, 12 years old, they were pretty tough kids. But anyways, as days came on, Brother Andre, I remember all their names. We used to go to bed at 8 o'clock at night, I think. Yes, 8 o'clock. Get up at something like 6:30, quarter to 7 in the morning. But as the days came on, I was waken up by Brother Andre and taken to a room. This was about a month after I got there. Take me to a private little room and start talking to me and asked me if I was a hockey player, played hockey, if I was good at that. I said, oh, yeah, because this was August and September. The rinks weren't out yet. And I told him, yes, I am, sir, and our brother and all that. So he started hugging me. And I kind of liked that hug. I thought I was going to be protected because my mom very seldom hugged me unless she was half in the bag, hammered, drunk. When that started happening, I started feeling safe, feeling comfortable. But then a week again, it came by again. He came and get me again about 11 o'clock at night, waking me up, like tapping me on my feet. He said, "Come on, let's go and have a talk." And I do again. I did again, and but it gradually, like month and a half, it started gradually getting a little too close, kind of weird, hugging me, touching my bum, and me hugging him back. And again, it came over and over, like weeks at a time. And then it got to a point that's where he was touching my privates and asking me to touch his private and all this. I said to myself, "Oh my God!" I said, this isn't real, or something's kind of wrong." And he said, "Don't say nothing, and you will be going home soon." And one way, when it came to even touching me, the brother, I still kind of started getting used to it and playing my mind, and playing my mind because he treated me good daytime and everything. He kind of protected me, didn't let no other kids get rough with me. It carried on. And there's some beatings. Of course, after about 4 months, I started getting used to the place really good and getting very angry because I didn't know what was going on. I had to do these things. Even at the rink when I'd go play a hockey, he would ask me to stay later after 7 o'clock. We're off the ice by 7:30, 8. We go back to the dorm, back to the hall, we call it. Then he'd keep me at the rink for another extra 45 minutes, an hour. And that's where I would have to do certain things to him. I was so confused, Ryan, that I almost like expected this to happen. My mind was, as an 11-year-old, I'll be going home soon. These are the rules to do this. My little friend beside me, his name was Spoo. Last name was Spoo. And so this place is mixed up with natives and white people. But this kid he was a German guy, nice friend of mine. And he was crying at night. I told him, stop crying because the brothers are going to come and get you. They must have been doing this to him too. So I covered his face with a pillow to keep him quiet. But he was still sniveling, and they took him to that room also. And I knew what was going on. I just started to break down in my pillows, and I trying to smother him just to keep his crying away. They took him, and he came back, and I was so angry at him. I said, "What the Christ did you cry for? They wouldn't be taking you if they didn't cry." And he was trying to explain to me. I said, "Oh, never mind, go to bed." As weeks came on again, I started thinking, I'm going to piss myself. I'm going to start pissing my bed. At that point, I knew there was something wrong because even when I got into trouble, they would make you stand up from 8 o'clock in the morning to 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. So a lot of times I had to do that because I did something terrible that afternoon. but they would put me on a list. He's standing up tonight, or he's standing up, whatever. And I started to faint myself at about 11 at night. As I was standing up, take about 10 breaths and do that. Someone told me that. Some other kid told me that. And I did that. And it worked. I fell down on the next bed beside me or on the floor, and a staff would come running to me and take me to my bed. So that would save me about 4 or 5 hours standing up. And I got used to doing that once in a while. Anyways, like I said, I would piss myself in bed. The brother would wake me up at 11:30, 11 o'clock to go back to that room. And as soon as they knew I was wet, they would give me a cold shower and send me back to bed. And that's what I would do. And well, this is working, I said. This is working. That carried on. But as I went downstairs the next morning, every morning, wake up, going to classes at school, the word got around I was a person that wets his bed. So the name they started calling me was Piss Can. And that was a bad name, of course, downgraded, bullied, being called Piss Can. Piss Can. So I had to live with that for a good while, all my time there. These things going on, beatings, I was getting beatings for the wrong things I did. One time I broke my glasses. They didn't feed me for about 3 days because they thought I deliberately broke my glasses. I couldn't eat 3 days. Had to stand up a few hours every night within those 3 days, man. And that point, I knew I was getting angry. My brother would see me get my beatings in front of 90 other kids that take me in the front. They'd grab my hair like that, and threw me around the floor and kicked me, literally kicked me in the ribs. And they'd stand me up again and say, "This is what happens when you're a bad boy." And my brother would be holding back his tears. At that point, I was really angry inside. And my mom would used to send letters, mail to us, but I would never get a letter. I was wondering why. But later on, I realized, excuse me, but I realized I was kind of the black sheep. My aunt told me that too, and because I looked like my dad, I guess. And I didn't get along. She didn't care for me that much when I was at home, when I was 8, 9, 10. I had to kind of push that away, but I kept on lying. I said I had a good mother. She was nice, and she wasn't. And so this carried on, getting my beatings. And at the point, and that stage, I was just, it didn't even, I was losing love and caring. I really didn't give a F. And for an 8 or 11-year-old, I wanted to get mad. I even started fighting with kids. And Christmas would come around. People's names were called. Children, I mean, us guys, our names would be called. Who's going home? My name was never called. My brother was never called. They said, "You aren't going home this Christmas for holidays." Your mom happened to be half in the bag drinking when we spoke to her. So I was angry again. But the night people are getting ready, the following day they're going, you have to have clean lockers, or lockers, where keep our clothes and all that. We all had a locker. My number was 155 and my brother's was 121. See, I can't forget these numbers. This is 60 years ago, 55 years ago. They said, you got to have all clean lockers. Whoever's on the list of going home, you better have a clean locker. If not, you are not going home on holidays. So they told us, go clean our lockers. So I went, and I knew I wasn't going home, but I saw some other kids going home, on the list. So I would break in their locker on top, make a big hole, bend the thing down. I would throw garbage in there. And now this was sad because I didn't want him to go either because I'm not going. This guy's not going, whatever. So we'd all be all called to line up again. And the brothers would go check the lockers who was all clean. And all those other guys they thought for sure someone they were going home. But they found out their lockers were all dirty and garbage thrown in there. But me and my brother did that, Spencer. And we thought this was, well, okay, we're happy now. They're staying back. We're not the only ones not going home. But that was sad for what we did. And And eventually, if you got into a fight in the morning or something like that, they would get all the kids at lunchtime. 12 o'clock. We'd go in a big cafeteria and pull the tables back, and these 10, 11 year old or 12 year old or 13, the brothers would make them challenge, fight each other, fist to fist, man, really fight. I mean, not just a punch in the face. These kids would just go to it. It never happened to me at that one point, but I saw it. I saw this happen. Two kids just give each other lickings until the brother just say stop. You know, that's the way it was, man. And 1967, that was a big thing opening up in Montreal, Expo 67. Remember that?
Yeah, I remember seeing commercials and things talking about that.
That was just opening up. That was just opening up for a big thing. And all our lots of names were called. My name was called. Spencer's name was called to go on that little tour. So I was in my glory. I was happy. Wow, you know. And I went and get my suit, got dressed up, and we're all down in the hall again. And Brother Zill came to me. He said, "Where are you going?" I said, real happy voice. I said, "I'm going to Expo 67 in Montreal." And he said, "No, you aren't. You're going back up to the dorm to take your suit off. You're not going anywhere." So I was put down again there. I went upstairs, changed. I came down sad. My brother said, "Where's your clothes? How come you're not dressed up now?" I was told I can't go. Wow, he said, "You're not going?" I said, "No, they told me I can't go now." He says, "Oh, I'll go. I'll bring you back something." So he went. He tried to be happy, but I knew he was sad. He came back that night about 9 o'clock. We were up because we knew they were coming late. We were had a little extra time. He came in. He pretended that he had a good time. I knew he didn't because I didn't go. So I just put it on. I said everything was cool today. It wasn't cool, but anyways, that carried on and carried on. The trouble because I was getting worse, getting into trouble. We used to get about 50 cents or 10 cents a week for our canteen. And all this, I would barely get $1 because I wasn't behaving anymore. And the letters that came to my brother, he's hated my mom too, getting worse. I didn't even give it to him. After about 8 months, some people were going home, some kids, and sometimes we would say, "Where is Peter? Where's John?" Or they normally tell you when you're going home the night before. They'll say, "Well, this guy's going home now, either holidays or just going home for good." And we would say, "Where's Peter, man?" You know, and his name was in that call last night. He's not here. A couple of months down the line, "Where's John? Where's Gary?" And we say, "Holy jumper, there's something going on there. I don't know. They're not telling us where they're going." But we just put that aside again. We didn't know where they were going. And I was called up. The four of us were called up to go to. We're going somewhere. They told me Brother Quintillion, his name was. He said, "Well, you're going to be leaving the school in a day or two, and you're going to a foster home." I said, "Oh, okay." And I said, "Where is that?" "Well, it's another home, just like would be your home, but you'd be going to Ottawa. You and your brother and two other boys." "Oh, okay." So I was kind of happy getting out of school. But Brother Zill and another brother came to me the next day I was going. That night they came and see me at 11 o'clock. They called me. They said, "How are you doing?" I said, "Oh, I'm happy. I'm going somewhere. I'm going to a foster home." And they said, "No, we had it our way. You wouldn't be going because you're still misbehaving. Have you cried yet?" I said, "No." And they right away, they brought a sheet with them. I said, "What's going on?" I said, "Why would they give me a sheet in the hallway, real dim lights?" And they said, "We can make you cry. And if you do, it's going to be worse." They put that sheet around my neck and they dragged me down the hall. They dragged me down the hall for a while. I don't know, about 30, 40 feet. But it was marble floor. It didn't really affect my neck. They stood me up. They looked at me and said, "You're not crying?" I said, "No, I'm not crying." This is what we want to see in you. Don't you ever cry. Even when you leave us tomorrow, you be a tough boy. Don't take no beatings out there. Don't. It was too much. Well, I was 12 years old. Anyway, the next day, we all went. They drove us to Ottawa. Alpha's not far from Ottawa. We got there. It was Mr. Conrad Terrier, and forget the woman's name, but they had two kids themselves, three. That was on Nelson Street, 14 Nelson Street, Ottawa. I remember all this. As the week came on there, I was playing hockey. I got into junior A, and I even took karate, took weightlifting. I remember what the brother said, don't lose a fight, don't take no beatings. And I was already pretty good shape. I could take lickings from somebody, and my age. And the thing was, I didn't know what prejudice was. And that home, they called me bushwhacker and uh, whatever, bushwhacker, savage. And I was there about 2 years, 2.5 years. And I couldn't handle it anymore. I had my friends come to see me at the age of 13, 14, as a teenager, and they heard them calling me bushwhacker or a dog because I started looking at girls, 13, 14, starting to flirt like girlfriends. And at that age, you get that. But they used to call me a dog. So my friends would say, holy jumpings, what's wrong? What's wrong with those people? I said, I don't know, but I'm not going to be here too long. I said, one night I made a decision. I took off. We went to a friend's place. I told my friend, I'm not going back there. She said, but what are you going to do? I said, I'm going to spend the night all night. I said, I can't stay at your place because they're going to be checking your house. They know you're good because you're my friend. I slept in the park that night, and I didn't go home. They were looking for me all over, cops. They said they had a runaway from St. Joseph Training School in a foster home. I wouldn't see my aftercare officer. That's what they called them those days. And he was a black guy. He worked on Bank Street. So I walked there first thing in the morning, like 8 o'clock, 8:30, as soon as he got to work. I said, sir, I forget his name though. I said, I want to go back. I didn't go home last night. He says, yes, I know, cops are looking for you. And I got the call. And I said, I don't want to go back. I just hated it. I didn't know what abusive word was then. They're kind of mean. I said, they keep calling me names. And I can't handle it. They don't come to my hockey games. They don't give me my proper hockey sticks. And I just can't stand it. I said, I'm not running away from you or anybody from the school. I want to go back and get if you can place me into another home. Okay, we're going to gamble. And of course, I'm already 14, 15. I could pretty well handle myself. I'm not 11 this time. And I went back. They put me in the big division because there's two divisions in Alfred, Ontario, small and big. So I'm older now. And actually, it turned out pretty good. I was there only about a month and a half. And they found me another home, another couple, French people. And he had two daughters. His name was Daryl and Louise Monette. Lisa Monette, yeah. He was a trucker anyway, but they were good people, man. Apparently he loved Native people. I didn't know that until a couple of months after. They didn't have no son. They kept me for 3 years. Boy, that place was. I'm telling you, it was an awesome place. They treated me like their own son. They gave me freedom. Let me go to the YMCA. Let me have a girlfriend. All this. Helped me out with cigarettes, although I was only 16. I think he even gave me a beer or two. But his wife got nice. Said, you better not do that because he didn't care. But we were fishing. So the old man gave me a beer and all that. I was 16, but didn't carry on. They treated me so good. And I met a woman about 18 years old then. I ended up having two kids with her. She was a nice woman, but the bottle was hitting me because I was already playing junior. I started drinking. I started doing weed. Then I bumped into going to hotels at 18. I bumped into a Satan Choice bike club. It's like the Hells Angels, but it was called Satan's Choice. But they loved me because I was First Nations. They cared for me. They smoked me up. I mean, like, I don't know if they were caring for me, but I didn't ride with them. They asked me if I wanted to join them. I said, not really. He said, but, we'll pick you up at your apartment. bring you out to the house, party all night. And that's what happened. I started partying. My first wife, didn't like the idea of me hanging around with them. I was working. I was working for shipping and receiving and doing truck lettering. I took commercial art in high school, so I was doing fancy truck lettering, freehand. So I had a job, but drinking heavy, my friend, drinking heavy. And my wife even got tired of that after 5 years with her. She cut me loose. Lost my two kids. I couldn't see them, but kept on boozing and boozing. Then I hit 22 years old. I met Norval Morrisville, Roy Thomas, Benjamin Keesey, Robert Bateman. And these guys, they're painters. Robert Bateman isn't. He's a white guy, but he's a damn good painter. Norval Morrisville said, pick up a brush. Roy said, go ahead, man. And these guys already had 10 years ahead of me. So, anyways, I tried that, and I knew I had a touch because I always knew I had. That's people used to tell me that. So that's where I got into it. I started doing and what they were telling me, giving me some ideas, and that's how I became who I am today, painting for 45 years. But it was the help of Roy Thomas, Norval Morrisville, Benjamin Keesey. They're all dead now, man. Robert Bateman, I think he's still living. I had a show with him in Hamilton in the 80s with Norval Morrisville. He's well-known painter, Robert Bateman. He used to be an art teacher before he became a self-employed artist.
Brian, what a powerful story, and like the journey.
Yeah.
As a child, like you knew something was going on, and tried to find ways to protect yourself. Since no one else was protecting you, you were trying to find ways, and because of the abuse, you're never grounded. You're never in the moment. Like you're always reacting to things. So how are you supposed to adjust as a human being going through that?
Yeah, and my cousin Herb Navigon, he was a heavy drinker, but he went on the wagon. He did good. He was a professor at Carleton University, or Laurentian University in Sudbury. And he grabbed sobriety. He told me, bro, he said, you should consider taking a 28-day program. You've been hurt in residential school. You went through all kinds of shit, and even your mom molested you. You got to do something. I even committed suicide a couple of times. I slit my throat when I was walking the street at 4 o'clock in the morning. I put a knife right in my stomach one time in front of my wife. I was drinking. And that's all the pain trying to get rid of it from residential school and so on. I didn't know how to live properly. It was my fault. I did that. I was a bad boy. But Herb Navigon, he told me, consider a program, Brian. So I did. And be honest, let everything out. He said, they're not going to reject you, even if you tell the truth. So I went with a 28-day program. I didn't let all of it out, but I went to another program year after again. I met another Native guy. He said what had happened to him in the church. So that opened my eyes. I said, wow, I didn't see nothing yet in my circle. There was about 25, 30 of us. And I went and talked to him privately. I said, whoa, I said, did that happen to you too? And he said, why, it happened to you? I said, yeah, man. He said, break out, man, break it. I was crying for him. So the following day, I think my turn was to speak, and I brought mine out. Boy, I freaked out in a good way, actually, because after that circle, 45 an hour talk, when I was released, I was hugged. Counselors greeted me, and I felt so light, Ryan. I felt pretty light that I left everything out. No one condemned me. Everybody just hugged me. So I carried on that one. I took counseling and all that. Then I got $25,000, 21,000 from residential school from Alfred, Ontario. And when I saw the first check was 10,000, my wife said, wow, look what you got. I broke down, Ryan. I said, you know what I had to do for that money? And she said, oh, I'm sorry. I said to myself, I'm not going to touch one drink and give the training school the satisfaction, man. I never touched one drink with that $21,000, man. I just bought her a car and whatever, other things. But that's what I kept in my mind. I said, I'm not touching it because I heard other people committed suicide when they got their money. Today, I'm still painting. Nothing stopped me from painting. I had shows in Spain, Germany, Mexico, Ottawa, Hamilton, Works all over the world, Europe. I still send pieces to the States. Cops, lawyers, politicians. My work is all over now. It's something that it doesn't, whatever was on my way, drinking and the hurt, for some reason, the creator continued for me to do paintings. I was doing violent ones first, the first maybe 5 years. It changed into all like healing, nothing violent. It's all got to do with healing and mellow and good life. And that's what I paint today.
You found a way to be able to express your emotions
Always.
and find healing through your work.
Yes, exactly, Ryan. That is so true. Every time I work on a piece, like this piece here I'm working on for someone, okay, it has something to do with her son that's going through pain. This guy's in a pen now, but he lost his dad. He's my nephew. Doing this painting for him. But he's in jail now. His mother, his mother asked me to do something like that, something with healing, because he's been hurting just like me all my younger days, and he's doing time in and out. He lost his dad.
It's positive to see that you were able to find an opportunity to heal and not let the experiences destroy your entire life.
Yeah, yes, that's through the help of reaching out. That's what did it. That's what did it. And then I just beat cancer a year and a half ago. I was cut here. I had cancer in my mouth. I beat that. Now I'm cancer free, for the age of 68 years old. For the age of 68 years old, yes. Then going through losing my son a year and a half ago. He drowned in front of me diving, and that's when I went on a big tear. I didn't even want to live, man. Believe me, I just didn't even want to. He was so close with me, him and I. It's still hard every day. Every day I think of him. I talk to him at nighttime. Yeah, and not even taught him how to dive. Always the one, and we were all together celebrating a birthday party, all sober. He happened to dive off the wrong cliff and slip. I dove in to see if I could save him. I just saw something beige going deeper, deeper, deeper. Lucky my wife wasn't there, man. My daughter was there. She's going through heavy trip too. And they were so close together. So yeah, I'm still working on that too.
Loss is hard, especially for a parent to lose a
Yeah.
child.
He's 29 years old, 28, 29.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's my age.
That's young. Wow.
When someone has so much potential and so much life left, and unfortunate circumstances happen, it's painful. It's painful. I've had family members that have passed too soon, and it hurts.
It just hurts. It just hurts. Yeah, it hurts.
Has art helped you through this grieving process?
That too. I didn't paint for about a month and a half, 2 months when he first died. When that happened, and it's not me. I usually paint every day, but I was talked to from other people, and they would always say, "Speak to him. He's in a good place. Honor him when he was around. Honor him. Love him." And that's what I did. Like I could hear BJ, my son. His nickname was BJ, short form for Brian Jr. He would like say, "Carry on, Dad. You do good work. Continue doing like you did when I was around." And that's kind of helped me, even fishing and hunting. I miss him on that lake. I miss him on that hunting. It's heavy, but I'm going through it pretty good, man. Every time I paint, it helps me.
Yeah, finding ways to continue to live through life, kind of to honor them. I'm feeling it now myself, kind of reminiscing.
So now I got nice, beautiful grandkids I love so much. My daughter's got one more's on the way, little Waylon, and and I got Jackson, Raiden, Avery, Cody. Oh, I got lots of them now. And that's what keeps me going too, Ryan.
The next
Yeah.
generation that we need to help create a path for so they can succeed in life,
I
right?
find that I came a long way after like what I was telling you all morning. Like what I do, I like to donate to the what do you call it when people can't afford certain things? I like to donate my paintings to certain organizations, and I'm sending one to Ukraine now. An organization asking for peace. That I put together, going somewhere in Toronto and other places. The whole work, even COVID. I've helped out the police station, hospital, sick kids hospital. I respect all those people that go through COVID. They had to work double time, double shifts. And dangerous shifts. So that's what I look at. And the creator loves that, when you give back, eh? No matter what happened to me when I was young, that's okay. And I realize it's not my fault, I was just a kid. I blame myself for, we were just blaming ourselves, we were bad boys, bad kids, but we weren't.
Well, Brian, thank you so much for sharing your story. I know bringing these conversations up can be incredibly painful, but on behalf of our listeners and everything, hearing these stories is important to understand a context of the history here in Canada and the experiences that many Indigenous children went through. So to get a picture of hey, what were the systems in place? Kind of what was the discrimination? It was a genocide. It was a genocide to kill off an entire culture of peoples to push a Western point of view, this is the only right way. And I think we need to learn from that in order to move forward and have a better understanding and to help everyone heal.
Another thing I was going to say, when I was in the hospital with my cancer, I saw this news flash. Sure, I just came out of the operating room and I was on hoses and everything, but I saw this flash come on TV the first time when they found 351 kids, I believe, out west there. Right there, I just freaked out. It was about 2 o'clock in the morning. I saw that. I was crying, freaking out. And I said to myself, the nurse said, "What's wrong? Are you in pain?" I said, "I'm in a different pain." I said, "Residential school, they found this." I said, "What do you mean?" I said, "I was in one of those." "Oh my God," she said. And I said this 56 years ago. I said, "We're losing kids. We're losing our friends." No one believed us. I told my mom, she said, "That would never happen anyway. That's the St. Joseph Training School. It's Catholic." I was cut right off right there. I never, ever tried to tell people this is happening because they never listened anyway. And it comes back. It comes out at 55 years later. All those years ago, we were saying this is happening. This is happening. And now they find out two years ago. It's sickening.
They're finding more, and it's just...
And yet today...
an entire system designed to push or to ensure that those in power stay in power, and that things that they perceive as a threat, which are individuals who are different, are pushed, subjugated, and put it within the system to have that system of authority and power continue running.
Yep.
So these conversations are important to understand the context and history, and that all of us work together to continue to dismantle lots of the systemic issues that are still in place in our government and to build a brighter community. Having conversations like this, just you and me sitting down, we have some shared experiences, losing loved ones, and those are things we can connect over. And
this conversation we're having is healing me right now. This is what helps me also. Sharing my experience, letting go. For the sake of other people too that are being quiet and being ashamed. I hope this helps to break the ice for themselves, for the good.
Multicultural is located on Treaty 1 territory, the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, Cree, Oji-Cree, Dakota, and Dene peoples, and on the national homeland of the Red River Métis.